Welcome back. Looking to make a difference in your community? Consider mentoring a young person. The experience can be rewarding for both parties. James Kallusky knows that. He's the director of Coach Across America and has dedicated the last 25 years to working with underserved children and youth. Thanks for joining us. And
Thanks for having me.
We should say that January has been National Mentoring Month, so I'm sure it's a very special month for you.
It is. It is. National Mentoring Month was launched in 2002. And the goal was to get more community members involved with mentoring. We know it works. We know it makes a huge impact on kids. And the results have been fantastic. Today, 2 out of 3 children across the country have a mentor. And that's up tremendously over the past decades. The unfortunate part is that means 1 in 3 do not. So that leaves 16 million kids without a mentor. And of that 16 million, 9 million are considered to be at risk and could really use somebody in their lives. So that's really what National Mentoring Month is about, is the exposure to mentoring and to, tell the community, if you're interested, get involved. We can use your help.
And what is it about sports that presents itself as such a great opportunity to reach kids, to sort of build that mentoring relationship?
Yeah, well, your last segment, the Super Bowl. 3 in 5 Americans have a direct link to some type of sport experience. That's over 170 million people. And it's attractive to kids. It's interactive. It's emotional. It's a great avenue to reach that hard to reach kid, that disconnected kid that may not be in school, that may be unemployed. Sports programs are able to attract those kids, and then also at the same time, because they're interactive and emotional, you get to see really who that person is. Who is that kid beyond the haircut, beyond the way that he or she is dressing? We call it the iceberg effect. We see 10% of the kid, but when you get them involved in a sports environment, you really get to see that, the bulk of the iceberg that's under the water, their aspirations, their fears, and use that to help guide them.
So now, with your group, where do you target, what kind of programs do you target? What are there specific sporting events, or does basketball lend itself better to a mentoring program than, say, golf, or does it really matter?
Right. No, it really doesn't matter. We're in 67 different sports right now.
67?
67. We have archery. You talk about bass fishing and sitting next to a kid and doing mentoring through that is a fantastic way to really get to know children. We launched our program 4 years ago to be a coalition for youth development organizations that were using sport to help kids get better at life. Not layups, not curveballs. So it's very intentional. And over the last 4 years, we now have 800 organizations that are now under the Up to Us banner. And we provide them all types of different resources in training, best practices, evaluation measures. And our Coach Across America program hires and trains coaches to go into those organizations. We're primarily in underserviced neighborhoods across the country where you'll see dropout rates exceed 50%. And we find that this is a great way to get kids to stay in school. Kids that are involved in our program are twice as likely to graduate high school than kids that don't.
And talking about underscoring just how important mentoring is, I've been thinking as you've been talking about this, how I don't think I would be sitting here today without a couple of very special mentors in my life who took in, an 8th grader in one case who was sort of interested in journalism, let him hang out at a TV station all the way through high school. And in large part, these 2 or 3 professional journalists are why I'm here today. So it really does make a difference. And on the other side of that coin, it doesn't take all that much of a commitment from you or I to be a mentor.
That's correct. And I'm in the same position. I grew up in a pretty challenging environment, and thanks to my mentor that I met when I was 19, I really got on track. Here was a guy, and I got to give the shout out. His name's Don Hellison. He was working with kids in detention centers with sport, and he kind of took me out of the weeds and got me involved with that, and that passion really became a calling for what I'm doing as, for you sitting here today. And, we talk about the benefit that the kids get, But there's also a benefit factor for the mentor. It just feels really good to be giving back. And like you said, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take any money at times. It just takes your time and your involvement to provide meaningful and impactful experiences for kids.
So how do people get involved? If what they're hearing right now sounds like, I want to do this, how do they get involved with your organization?
Well, they could contact us at uptous.org, up2us.org, and we could help connect them to our sports organizations across the country. We have this network of 800 organizations, 30 of which are here in the D.C., Northern Virginia area. And we have rugby programs if they're interested in a certain sport, if they're interested in a certain population, maybe a girls program. We can connect them to those programs. 67
different sports gives you a pretty wide range of things to pick from.
Right.
Everything from archery to bass fishing to basketball to football, I would imagine.
That's correct. Obviously the majority of our programs are the traditional sports: basketball, soccer, baseball, football. But again, it's not the sport that really matters. It's the relationships that you build through the sport that really count.
Great. So give us the website one more time, and we'll make sure we get it on our website as well.
Okay. Up to us, up2us.org, or you can email us at info@uptous.org.
Perfect. And we've got the website up on your screen there, so you can jot that down. James, really interesting. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
And for those of you who have mentors out there, thank them today. I'm gonna send an email to my mentor, Ross Becker, and thank him for all he's done. And it is National Mentoring Month, so think about volunteering if you can. Thanks so much for coming in. We'll be back with a programming note here in just